Each year brings new threats to face, but each year there is less money to do it with. How does smart defence work in this situation? NATO Review looks at how two NATO members, Greece and Turkey, could be candidates for smart defence measures.
Even without the crisis, Greece would need some kind of major reform of its defence policy and its military mechanism. Perhaps a good term is what NATO has been trying to do, which is smart defense. I think to an extent, and that's not exclusively a Greek problem, I think many militaries have the same problem, still thinking along the terms of the past and still trying to fight the last war. I think many things have changed in this part of the world. The needs are different, the means and the technologies and the doctrines are different. And now with even more limited economic means, I think we need a major shift.
Security is not the top priority in today's Greece. Up the road, international lenders are meeting with the Greek government again to try to sort out the international debt crisis affecting this country. Behind me, protesters have gathered again to rail against the cuts that must be suffered by the people of this country. It's all about the economy. However, if how you spend determines how you defend, then security will be majorly affected by this country's economic turmoil.
All the countries, all the NATO countries, have to spend at least 2% from their national budget. This is what I believe, because they need to have strong armed forces, not only to protect our countries, but also have to control all the problems in all over the world. NATO now have to care about the peace, and especially the new threats now are the biggest problem, not only for NATO, but all for the world.
You also have new problems, natural disasters, population movements, even problems that used to be in the authority of the police and the domestic agencies like transnational organized crime or even terrorism. Now, Al-Qaeda may be out of the game, but terrorism is still a menace for the Western world. So I think we need armed forces with multiple capabilities that could easily move from one issue to the other and have multiple abilities to deal with a new security environment.
Turkey, which doesn't face the same economic difficulties as Greece, has already thrown its weight behind smart defence.
Smart defense is a project that has been brought to the agenda by the Secretary General, and Turkey has supported this from the beginning. Turkey is supporting approximately 170 projects and joining many of them. With smart defense, the purpose is not cutting expenses, but spending money more efficiently.
Being coordinated in defence is nothing new. Countries already benefited from smart intelligence when they joined NATO. Now it is time to apply it to future projects.
Through NATO, they could have access to first-class information and intelligence, which of course they could not attain through their national resources.
With joint projects, coordination will be required and increased cooperation. We have seen this and experienced it a lot in the past. The best example is building the F-35 CSF aircrafts. Inside and outside NATO, with Australia getting involved, a project that many countries had a joint interest in. Hence, with smart defense, using the money more efficiently is the principle, not spending less. With smart defense, specialization is essential.
But one of the potential obstacles in the way of smooth smart defence is that it requires countries to be more comfortable sharing in defence, an area that is traditionally national and sovereign. Could this work between Greece and Turkey?
In order for the two countries to come together and to try to think constructively about how they can cut their military spending, how they can create some of the joint efforts with a view to achieve smart defense. One requirement would be that the two countries would also start to settle some of those outstanding disputes. Because as long as those outstanding disputes remain at the table, the type of confidence necessary, the political confidence necessary to create a much more ambitious agenda for smart defense between the two countries will not come about.
While security may seem a lower priority than the economy right now, progress in reducing spending in defense could help improve economies in the long run.
I don't expect this government, which is a transitional one, or even the next one to come after the elections, to put too much emphasis on foreign policy, which is unfortunate because the world keeps turning whatever we do in Greece, and we might find ourselves faced with unpleasant surprises if we neglect foreign policy for too long.
We don't live in this world alone. And of course, we're not the epicenter of the war. Turkey or Greece, they have to live together. They have to solve the problems. They have to find solutions. And after that, they are making the reduction for the budget for the armed forces and to spend less money and to give to for the hospitals and for the others, for the children, for their future.